when you're working with younger athletes, it's very important to meet them where they are. All right, so this athlete, I believe, is 5 or 6 years old, um, very young. And the main focus with developing the younger, you know, athletes is first understanding if an athlete is 5 years old, it means they just learned how to walk 4 years ago. And your expectations have to kind of be stretched out a little bit because not only did they just learn how to run or actually walk, you're expecting them to run and jump. And the jump part is what's very challenging. So when you're dealing with younger athletes as young as 7 and below, it's more about having them enjoy the experience and also teaching them the cues you're looking for. So, for example, right now he's starting at the cone. The cone is where he starts from. Then from there, I tell him when to go because when you give a younger athlete the freedom to go whenever they want, is they're going to go at any time. And this, for safety reasons, there might be rakes in the pit or whatever else, having that first part down. Then from there, I always just tell them just to run to the cone and jump. That's it, right? And that's it. So as you can see, this athlete runs and you can tell that he backs off and then speeds up. So we'll do many, many reps of just having him understand the concept of just run and jump. Now, naturally, because there's a break here, he's going to eventually accept the speeds and then jump later on. But the main focus of it is just letting them do reps and reps of start here, go on my cue, and then jump. It minimizes what's needed by the athlete. And as you can see here, same concept, run, there's a jump. Now this time I put a cone. I put a cone out there, and the cone is for him to be able to reach for, all right? The reaching part of it is allowing him to understand that there's a value of when I go, I'm going to try to get as far as I can. And when you see that he's going as far as he can, you can see that the takeoff angles are correct. He waits for the board, pushes, and then he's waiting, holding his phase to get to that position. Now, is he landing correctly? No, he just started walking 5 years ago, right? Could he have his arms in a different place? Yeah, he could. However, he just started walking 5 years ago, right? It's just being really patient and realizing, yes, he did break down and slow down here, but it wasn't as drastic as before. So when athletes start to really understand this concept of run and jump and are strong enough and confident, then we can back them up. And this is 9-year-old Valerie. So we're looking at her overall speed, same concept. She just starts from back wherever, right? And you can see that her running form is great. She's accepting up the speeds, heel tuck, A position down, and that stays the same, okay? It doesn't change at all. She actually runs through great. There's the extension, chest upright, and then she actually has the concept of being able to land correctly, but this comes later on. So she starts to get it. And again, you can see that she's looking down at the board, and it's normal because I'm having her still jump from the board itself. She has a starting point. However, she runs and then takes off and jumps from there. It's very important. A lot of parents, a lot of athletes do this. Looking at her jump now, we can all agree she jumps pretty well and she jumped pretty far. I believe this jump was about 11 to 12 feet, maybe even further. All right. And so at a 9-year-old age, that's pretty good. So there's going to be a time where she's good. She's enjoying her success. Everything looks great. And there's going to be a time where we say, okay, now we're going to give you a set amount of steps to take. And so naturally, she's going to lose some of this freedom. All right. And it is what it is. There's going to be years where you're performing really well, other years where you're performing not as well. And the main focus is setting athletes up for long-term success. In the immediate, it's about getting on the board, run and you jump. Then the next year you reset. Now we're going to focus on knowing your steps. There's going to be a downfall within their overall distance. It's okay. Stick with it. Once you stick with it, now what's going to happen is the athlete's going to build the trust to be able to jump, and they're going to get more distance and set them up. And then we can work on other elements. So when you're working with athletes between 7 years old and younger, the main focus is stay patient, allow them to slowly develop, and the development will happen over a year or two versus just a season. Take your time, and if you have any further questions, please let me know at info@KeinanBriggs.com.